we had an insight into the awareness programs to bring about a better and reproductively healthy society. So, can you recall them? Yes. Programs for reproductive health include family planning and the Reproductive and Child Healthcare RCH program. We know very well that in the past few decades, increased health facilities along with better living conditions had an explosive impact on population growth. Do you know the world population, which was fewer than 2 billion in 1900, rose up to 6 billion in 2000? You will be surprised to know in India, the population at the time of independence was nearly 350 million, has crossed 1 billion in May 2000. Students, can you guess what can be the reason for this growth? Yes, you guessed it right. It is the rapid decline in death rate, the maternal mortality rate MMR, and infant mortality rate IMR, as well as an increase in the number of people in the reproducible age. But there can be many harmful effects of this explosive growth, which can be the scarcity of food, shelter, and clothing. So, the problem of population explosion needs to be checked. Do you think so? Therefore, to create awareness for smaller families, several initiatives have been taken through advertisements and media to adopt contraceptive measures. Have you ever come across any such advertisements? You must have seen posters showing a happy couple with two children with the slogan Hum do hamare do. In urban areas, working population has even adopted one child norm as well as the increasing age of marriage for girls to 18 and for boys to 21, and launching various incentives for smaller families are some of the initiatives taken up by the government. So students, now we will have a detailed insight to the contraceptive measures. But first, let me ask you a question. What should be the qualities of an ideal contraceptive method? So, an ideal contraceptive should be user-friendly, easily available, effective, and reversible with no or least side effects. Nowadays, a wide range of contraceptives is available, which are grouped into the following categories, namely natural or traditional, barrier, intrauterine devices, oral contraceptives, injectables, implants, and surgical methods. Let us understand them one by one. First is the natural method of contraception. Well, here comes an obvious question. How contraception can be adopted now? Students, the principle of this method is the prevention of meeting of sperm and ovum during the conception period. As we know very well, the fusion of sperm and ovum during this period leads to pregnancy. One such method is called periodic abstinence, in which couples avoid or abstain from coitus from day 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle, when ovulation could be expected, as this is the most fertile period. Another natural method is withdrawal or coitus interruption, in which the male partner withdraws the genital organ just before ejaculation to avoid insemination, thereby preventing the fusion of sperm and ovum. Have you ever heard of the term lactational amenorrhea? Yes. This term is used for the absence of menstruation during the lactation period, just after the birth of a newborn. Therefore, as long as the mother breastfeeds the child, the chances of conception are almost nil, which can be considered as a natural method of contraception. You must have understood till now that there cannot be any side effects of natural contraception, but at the same time, chances of failure are also high. Now let us talk about the next method, which is the barrier method of contraception. Can you guess how does this work? Yes, you guessed it right. In this method, the sperm and ovum are prevented from meeting with the help of some physical barriers. Condoms are used in this method, which is made up of a thin latex sheet and used to cover the male or female genital organs before coitus, so that the ejaculated semen would not enter into the female reproductive tract and thus preventing conception. Both male and female condoms are disposable and can be privately used by the user. The use of condoms has increased considerably to prevent AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases. Diaphragms, cervical caps, and walls are other barriers that are used for contraception. Several spermicidal creams, jellies, and foams are used along with these barriers to increase the contraceptive efficiency. Moving ahead, the next method of contraception is intrauterine devices. As the name suggests, these are the devices that are inserted into the uterus of the female by doctors and expert nurses. Some of the common devices are non-medicated IUDs like Lippy's Blue, copper-releasing IUDs like CUT, CU7, Multilode 375, and the hormone-releasing IUDs, Progestasert LNG20. You must be thinking how these IUDs work. So, let me tell you that these IUDs increase the phagocytosis of the sperm within the uterus, and the copper ions release suppress sperm motility and the fertilizing capacity of sperm. The hormone releasing IUDs make the uterus unsuitable for implantation and cervix hostile to sperm. Therefore, IUDs are ideal contraceptives for females who want to delay conception and thus one of the most widely used means of contraception. The next method is oral contraception. What are these? Oral contraceptives are small doses of progesterone or a combination of estrogen and progesterone, are popularly known as oral contraceptive pills. This is a specific pattern of taking the pills within the menstrual cycle. Now, here comes the question. What is the mechanism of action of these pills? Well, they inhibit ovulation and implantation, as well as alter the quality of cervical mucus to prevent or retard the entry of sperm, thus preventing fertilization. There are many oral contraceptive pills available commercially under different trade names. One of the most important one is Saheli, which is a non-steroidal preparation and does not have any side effects. Moving on to the next method, it is the use of injectables. Well, as the name suggests, in this method, progesterone alone or in combination with estrogen are used by females as injections or implants under the skin. They also work in a similar manner as of pills. A combination of these hormones has to be administered within 72 hours of coitus. Generally, it is given to avoid possible pregnancy due to rape or casual unprotected intercourse. Next, and one of the important methods is the surgical method. This method is also called as sterilization, and it is used as a termination method to prevent conception. Can you guess how this method works? Yes, you guessed it right. Like other methods, this also prevents diffusion of male and ovum by blocking the gamete transport. Sterilization of males is called vasectomy, and sterilization of females is called tubectomy. Now you must be thinking how the process is done. Well, in vasectomy, a small part of the vas deferens is removed or tied up through a small incision on the scrotum. While in tubectomy, a small part of the fallopian tube is removed or tied up through a small incision in the abdomen or the vagina. Although this method is highly effective, but at the same time, the reversibility is very poor. So, we learned a lot about the contraceptive methods, but One should select any method only after consultation with a medical professional. Also, it should be kept in mind that the contraceptives are not regular requirements for the maintenance of reproductive health. But the widespread use of these methods has a significant role in checking the uncontrolled growth of the population. However, their possible ill effects like nausea, abdominal pain, breakthrough bleeding, irregular menstrual bleeding, or even breast cancer, though not very significant, should not be totally ignored and taken proper care of. So students, that's all for the methods of contraception. We will study the medical termination of pregnancy and sexually